I thought we were going to wait on showing this off. It
Well, I
is
only put it
still,
in the community, so you don't have to put it out here if you don't want to. I just put it
I
in the
mean, most of the
community.
people that are here are in the community anyway, so they've already seen it. Um,
Sorry.
so Mark posted this over on Discord. This is something that we're working on. We noticed that the fans for a lot of these mini box miners just weren't adequate in terms of pushing the air away from the machines. The machines are so small that what's happening is you're getting cavitation and it's pulling the hot air back into the front of the machine. It's not getting the hot air away from the machines themselves, unless you're doing like a designated hot aisle. And nobody's doing that for these small little baby machines, right?
Yeah.
So, I had to dust off some of my CAD skills. Again, very dusty. Still a work in progress, but we've been working on a 1, 2, and 3 mini box miner fan housing to support a 120 millimeter fan. So these are just prototypes. We are still working on them to make them a little bit more sturdier and to take specific fans. But let me go ahead and share that.
Yeah, so you can show them off.
Yeah.
Dude, it looks sick. Like I can't express like how awesome they look.
So the fan fits inside or outside. The Goldshell mini box miners are all roughly the same size. And the way I tried to design it is they lock into place. When they're side by side, they lock themselves in to this housing with very little air gaps between them. Again, the process of where that we're printing these is going to also affect that. The miners themselves are going to affect that. These ones are bare cases. Mark has all the prototypes that I've made coming to him, because we don't know how they're going to fit with powder coated or some of these custom mini ones from DOGE or whatever that is. So Mark's going to test them in a number of different varieties and setups before we release them to you guys.
And obviously, Goldshell has came out with the 2 series of this, right? So at some point, we'll have to get some measurements on those. And if this works out how I'm thinking, at the end of the day, it's going to make the machine a little bit more efficient. So like John was saying earlier, so we have a couple of these box miners. And again, we are not advocates of the box miners. Box miners, honestly, at some point are just going to become paperweights. But we know the community has them. So we're like testing things out, just trying to figure out. We got our feet wet with LBC with just one of their box miners, things like that. So we just had, and we've acquired, I think at least one of them within a trade. So it was just a trade thing. And it's not like we proactively went out and got it, for the exception of the LBC miner. And what I noticed, and so I've been tinkering with them, just trying to figure out, because I see on social media a lot of people complaining about some of them are heat stroked. The efficiency drops a little bit. They have issues with the machine not staying hashing, which sometimes can be a glitch or it can still be the heat. So I started messing with the fan and fan speeds. I posted some pictures on it in our Discord. I think one of the pictures actually is in the miner review where I show the 3. Yeah, right there. So the regular fans, I boosted up the RPMs inside them before I put this fan behind it, and they started to show, as they cooled, the fans started to show a little bit more efficiency, because all the fans are pushing the heat across the board and not sucking it away. And so I wanted to keep the fans as they were, so we're not affecting the machine at all. It's just doing what it needs to do and reads the fans correctly. And I wanted to put something on the back end so I could suck air away from it, because I wanted to put a 6,000 RPM fan, or at minimum, because a lot of these people have these in their house. I want to do like maybe a Noctua 3000 fan and suck the air out as much as I can without tripping up the fans. And so I'm going to test it first with a 6,000 RPM fan, similar to how the setup is that you're seeing right now. and see where the point is to trip up the fans. So I'll put a manual speed dial on there or fan controller to bring up and down the fan speed. And then I'm thinking that a 3000 RPM fan will be the best result, probably, just because the fans in front of the machine that are pushing the air through the actual machine, they're not that much. I mean, maybe 1500 at best. And it's clearly not enough for these miners, from what I'm seeing. So
the tricky thing that we're trying to work out with these, and if you guys have played with ASICs before and you've overspun fans or you've hooked up alternative fans to the control boards, they are sensitive to how fast these fans are spinning.
yeah.
So if we have too much force pulling air through the machines, over spinning the stock fans, we can also get an error. So it's all about finding that right area of pulling just enough air through the machines to increase efficiency without overspinning and tripping the sensors on the mini miners. So I mean, we were doing some testing. I did my best in CAD to do some fluid dynamics, and so we can get these, we know what we can pull through them, and without overspinning them. And we're taking educated guesses on the box mini fans. We know that the 120 6000 RPM fans on most ASICs are right around 264 272 CFMs. So that's a lot of force, and you're creating a pretty big vacuum pulling through these fans. Some of the older ASICs, you could turn with like Hive or Brains, you can turn off the fan disable. So you can pull as much air through them and overspin these fans with no issues. These smaller ones with Goldshell, we haven't found a setting to turn off fans or turn off the sensors for the overspinning of the fans. So it creates a charge that goes back to the control board. Instead of having power being pushed to the fans, the power goes the opposite way. So we have to make sure it's a tricky, tightrope we have to walk. But we're hoping that everything works out once Mark is actually able to push these and slowly turn up a speed dial, and then we'll have some a finalized product for you guys, hopefully on our site, that'll include probably like a knock to a fan, and one of these shrouds for 1, 2, and 3 minor setups. But that's the plan. I mean, that's kind of the R&D that we're doing in the midst of everything else we're doing.
Yeah, a little side project.